So today is Thursday, July 25th, 2024. This is the Stronghold Digital Mining Daily Update. It turns out I got done with my appointment a little bit earlier than I thought I might, so we're able to do this broadcast, which I'm really excited to do. I, however, am not that excited about checking the dashboard because I did take a quick look earlier and I saw that Bitcoin was down, although hash prices were actually a bit higher. But our stock price was most definitely not in a good place. So it's about 4 o'clock as this broadcast is being recorded. I do see what appears to be a stock price, I think a 15-minute delay here, about $3.21 a share. Not sure if that's going to be the ultimate closing price or if we're going to see something bounce up or perhaps bounce down as the data catches up here. But I don't know. This is sort of a random aside, but I ran into a classmate who I never knew because she was in a different class year than I was at my, I guess if you want to call it like a high school reunion. I went to a very sort of unusual high school, if you could call it that. And I crossed paths with her near the chapel. And we had this, really, I think, good conversation about just a variety of things. And it turns out that she's a very well-known, I only discovered this after the fact, sort of like psychologist with a sort of like a specialty or specialization in dialectical behavioral therapy. And and she has like a TikTok channel that has like 50,000 subscribers. I mean, it's kind of interesting stuff. And I find her material very, very interesting. And I've sometimes, before I even cross paths with her, I've thought to myself, would it be useful to actually interview, be it a psychiatrist, psychologist, a counselor, a therapist, somebody who could perhaps speak to the topic of maybe apprehension, anxiety, sort of like distress, specifically triggered by, one's involvement in the stock market generally, and perhaps for those of us involved with Stronghold Digital Mining, right? Involvement with this company and with this stock. I cannot really say that my involvement with, Stronghold has specifically caused me anxiety. You know what I mean? Yes, there have been times where I see a random 8K that suddenly shows up out of nowhere. And I think there have been times where I've been kind of you feel a little bit of that apprehension to open it and see what's in there. And, because, right, there's always that fear, okay, what if this is revealing that due to some issue, one of the power plants, blew up, or that there's some problem, right, that's more significant than one would like to see. But, what I have, more broadly noticed is that there are a number of us, I don't know how many of us are still shareholders of this company, but over the past, say, year and a half, 2 years or so, I have noticed that there are individuals who do seem to legitimately, I think, have some degree of uncertainty and maybe, dare I even say, in a non-clinical sense, some anxiety, right, or some apprehension over the future of this company, over the future of whatever money one has invested in shares of this company. So that is something that I've actively thought about as a potential, as a potentially germane topic for this channel, for these broadcasts, simply because, certainly when I showed up, there was, I think, a lot of, people seem to be pretty depressed about the situation. This would have been late summer of 2022. Pretty depressed about the situation, not very sure about whether the company would survive, would they be going into bankruptcy. So in some small way, I think my broadcasts have attempted to create a sense of community amongst us, right? So that we can kind of dare I say, lean on each other a little bit, right? And to support one another. But by the same token, understanding and emphasizing that we each need to make our own individual decisions about whether or not we want to stay involved in this name or not, right? Anyway, that's all by way of saying it's something that I've contemplated. So if you think that might be somewhat interesting, leave a comment. I am going to be catching up with comments this weekend. So apologies in advance if I haven't gotten to respond. I'm usually, as you know, I'm pretty good about jumping into the comments and interacting. And some of y'all are right. You're sort of like regulars, right? So we have a bit of a back and forth, which is awesome, and I appreciate that. I like that a lot. So yeah, look at as far as I can tell, let's just take a quick peek. I don't think there's been any news release. I don't see any news release for today. I mean, we're practically at the very end of the month of July at this juncture. So we are going to be probably finding out when we're going to have our investor presentation to go over Q2 2024 results. I'm guessing sometime next week we'll probably see a news release maybe suggesting when we might have that investor presentation. Of course, as is often the case, right, this could be a very fluid situation. We can also look forward to a Bitcoin production update for the month of July sometime in August. My suspicion is that any Bitcoin production update, as well as any business updates, will probably just get rolled into our, the news release that sort of goes into the details regarding our investor presentation. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Hopefully you're doing well. And I really mean that. I say this often because, look, all of us in our own unique ways have our struggles, our challenges in life, right? Also our triumphs and our successes. And, I think Stronghold is something we have in common. And Stronghold is something that arguably has seen a lot of success from a functional, operational perspective, right? There's a lot, I think, to be very proud of and to be very thankful for and grateful for in terms of how this company has executed. The challenge is that we haven't seen that really reflected in our share price. And that is admittedly disappointing, frustrating, and it's something that, depending on maybe the day of the week or the day of the month, for any one of us, right, I think it is natural and quite understandable to feel maybe a bit discouraged, a bit kind of like, what the heck, right? As is lately been the case in our investor presentations. The slide that speaks directly to the topic of our stock price is titled Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, WTF. I'll leave it to you and your imagination to guess what that might mean. But I think what I'm describing, right, this frustration, this kind of like, what the heck, it's something that's shared by our friends in management, and I'm sure by everybody, in the executive team, as well as, rank and file. I mean, everybody, what the heck, who would feel good about a stock price like the one we've been seeing, right? It's frustrating as heck, and it is, but it is what it is. So let's stay positive. Let's be great, and we'll see each other again tomorrow. And by the way, if for whatever reason we don't see each other again tomorrow, I am hopeful that we'll reunite at least at some point during the weekend. So we have that to look forward to. Okay, see you then.